Alright, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. And today this is going to be the first video of a new series I'm going to be starting. Where we're going to be looking at some classic EC horror tales, right? And I hope you guys like the new intro. I made it myself. I like the other one too, but I paid like $10 for it. But I liked it. I liked the music and everything, Black Swamp effects, whatever. But I think I like this one better. I was feeling this one a lot better, and I made this one from scratch. So you guys, let me know what's up with that. One thing I wanted to ask you guys, you guys ever feel like you're exhausted of like capitalism? You ever guys get ever tired of that? You know what I mean? Like what I'm trying to say is like, it's like everywhere you look, someone's trying to tell you to buy something, they're trying to tell you buy this, buy that, and if you have already bought it, they're trying to upsell you on what you already bought, you know what I mean? They tell you join this, join that, upgrade, supersize, whatever, hell, like some places, like they try to sell you on the fact that they won't sell you stuff anymore, you know what I mean? Like all these like Netflix places and stuff, like streaming services, they're all saying like, hey, if you upgrade to the new one, we'll stop trying to sell you stuff, you know what I mean? I just feel like it's a little exhausting, I find that, you know what I mean? For example, like this morning, I was watching like this motivational video on YouTube, you know what I mean? I like to watch those, those they put me in a better mood or whatever. They put me, they ground me, they find me a little bit of focus, whatever, they work for me, okay? It's kind of a self-care thing or whatever. But I was watching this motivational video. It's really good, you know what I mean? And then the music starts building up, it starts getting pumped up a little bit. And then it's getting to the moment where the guy's like, he's getting really into it. And right when that moment of where inspiration's about to hit and just like reach into your chest and just like squeeze your heart and make it start pumping, boom, like a freaking YouTube ad just pops up, you know what I mean? I'm like, what a freaking buzzkill, you know what I mean? So, anyways, that's just kind of the stuff I'm talking about, right? Because the beauty of capitalism is that everyone can do it, right? Everyone can participate in the market, and most people are doing a good job about it. I feel like most people who participate, have small businesses and stuff, are good, honest people that they just want to do a side hustle or they're just trying to, provide for their family or whatever. You know what I mean? But what the thing is, especially in modern days, is you start seeing like the rise of a lot of scams. At least that's the way I feel. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that, like at least in the last couple of years, I feel like scams have gotten a lot more pervasive and prevalent. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of it's because everyone has access to the same tools and whatever, but not everyone has like that. Whatever has that acumen, that that noble businessman kind of attitude or whatever. So, anyways, like I said, the reason I'm telling you guys this is because all of this is kind of going into what the story that we're going to be looking at. All right, we're going to be looking at the first story, right? These Tales from the Crypt, number 32. I believe this is 1952, 10 Center, and we're going to be looking at the first story. First of all, we're going to look at this cover. It looks awesome, right? Jack Davis is the name of the artist. You got this lady right here. She looks like she's about to get trampled by this elephant, and beautiful artwork. And you got the clowns in the back over here. These guys over here, they're just looking a little freaked out, So you got an ad for their weird fantasy magazines, a little bit of sci-fi. I like that, the Crypt Keeper and the Vault Keeper have like little bubble, but the witch doesn't need any. And then you got like a bone, she's stirring the cauldron with the bone, and you got like a little hand sticking out. That looks like a little mouse that's about to fall in the cauldron. So, very awesome stuff. And here we got the first page, right? First page is a Crypt Keeper. If you guys had any experience with like the Crypt Keeper, I used to watch it when I was younger, and you had that that weird little evil laugh, you know what I mean? Every time he presented the show, and he was kind of like the host, right? And I really love that idea, and you kind of see it here as well. And what I really like about these old horror stories is that even though they're horror, there's always like some kind of hidden message if you look for it, right? It's kind of like Aesop's fables, but like a twisted, sick version of it. So anyways, we'll get into that, right? This story is called Taint the Meat. It's humanity. You got Crypt Keeper with some big ass feet, right? You got a horse saddle back there, and you got the knife, whatever. And then this first panel introduces us to the protagonist. His name is Zach Gristle, right? Zach Gristle, and he's a butcher. He's a butcher in a small town. Yeah, Crypt Keeper right there, boy. He has a reputation amongst the townspeople of having being an honest person. And here you see like the first person. She's like she's only like 1 point short. So this was like at the time of World War, right? When things were being rationed. I'm not really sure how it worked, the system worked back then, but the way I think it works in this book is that people would bring him points, and then he would turn around and use those and give them to the government or some supplier, I assume, and use those points to buy meat so he can resupply and then sell them to people, right? So he didn't actually like kill stuff himself. So, and this lady, she's like 1 short, and then he tells her, "Oh, I can't do that." You know, she's like, "Can I owe them to you?" And she's like, "No, I can't do that. You know, I have to pay other people or whatever." You know, and people have sympathy for him. They're like, you know, all this rationing stuff is really hard on him or whatever. And then you got this dude, man. This guy right here. You see this guy right here? Real creep dude right there. He's a creep. All right. So he starts asking the guy. He's like, "Man, I would pay anything for a steak." You know what I'm saying? And then he starts to tempt. He's the one who tempts Zach, right? He offers him more money, and he's like, "No, sir, that's dishonest. You know, that's black market stuff." And then he kind of keeps telling him, and he's like, "You know, I know people who are willing to pay more." I don't know if this guy works for the mafia or what. It sounds like it to me. He sounds like a guy from the mafia. Just look at his hat. You know, anybody who wears a cigar like that, I don't know, I just assume they're in the mafia or whatever. Just if they just got a cigar in their mouth, right? So anyway, he tells him, "Hey, think it over." You know what I mean? So he's like, "Yeah, I'll think it over." And that's where you kind of start to see, I don't know if this was in frame or whatever, but you start to see him start slipping in there. So, and here you see the Crypt Keeper, right? He's kind of like, the Crypt Keeper, what I love it is he's so cynical, but he's pretty much saying what Zach is thinking, right? 1,000, 2,000. Pardon me, I was just counting my loot from the black market operation that I was doing during the war. There was a shortage of caskets, you know, and he was just kind of, apparently the Crypt Keeper had some kind of casket racketeering stuff going on. So anyways, here you got like him thinking it over with his family. You know, he's got a kid named Junior. His wife's like, "Eat your meat" or whatever. I love these little subtle things that they add from the Golden Age. You know what I mean? A lot of the superhero stuff, you know, it was very infantile. The stuff that came after this in the Silver Age, but this is right here is like the subtle things, right? Like the kid not wanting to eat his dinner, and you just kind of see that steak go to waste. So it's very subtle, right? It's very subtle. They don't have to explain it to you. So he's thinking about it, and he ends up doing it, right? So he opens up his shop the next day, and he serves the people of the town like the leftovers, right? Is it bad? I mean, you know what I mean? I feel like in this country, like I feel like that's the one thing we actually encourage. Like we discourage a lot of things in this country. If someone's lazy, we discourage that. Somebody's like proud or whatever, or arrogant, we discourage that. Somebody's being jealous, we discourage that, or whatever. But I feel like in this country, one thing we always encourage is greed. Like greed is, you know, you're just looking out for yourself and you're just doing the best for you and your family, right? But at what point does it become like, or at what point do we, you know what I mean? At what point does it just kind of look bad, you know? And it doesn't, right? Because in this country, you can make billions and still look generous, right? It might seem like, okay, I mean, he's giving the people leftovers, but it's still good meat, right? He's just, you know, looking out for himself, looking out for his family. He's just doing the best for himself. Now, is this what you would say kind of the slippery slope that he's going down, right? I know in sociology, when they do stuff like cops and stuff, they always say it's like the continuum of compromise of dirty cops, right? that it usually starts with like small things, and it ends up with bigger things. Anyways, he's making about 3 times what he would normally make, just selling it to regular people. And then the guy's like, oh, I got some friends, you're gonna have to, get more. And so then we get back in the next dinner, right? And then we get this area right here where he's eating dinner and he's trying to think about it. And then the kid's like, I'm not hungry. Gee, you expect me to eat like a horse. Again, it's subtle that the kid's like making the meat go to waste. And then he's like, that's it. So that's what he ends up doing. He ends up getting horse meat. And then he's like, everybody's happy because it's like, oh, we're getting good steaks now, good chops. And then nobody's really suspecting it. Now he's getting $5 a pound, right? And I believe he would only get like 69 cents from a normal townsperson. So now he's making more than 5 times, right? And then he gets a pressure. He's like, we're going to have a banquet or whatever. I'm going to need 20 pounds next time. He's like, can you get it for us? So he's putting more pressure on him to provide more meat, right? And this is the thing where he's like caught up with like these dark character mafia guys. So he can't really back out. He can't protest or whatever. Once you're in with them, you're in with them, right? And so he's under pressure to create more. So then he goes to this guy who's a butcher, and he's like, hey, man, I sell this meat to zoos. It's too old for human consumption. It's been laying around the warehouse. He's like, but now for a price, and then he's like, no points. So he sells it to him. And then he's like, shh, don't tell anybody about this, right? So then you got the crypt keeper making fun of it. He's saying what he's thinking, right? And he's like, oh man, is this guy really feeding people bad meat? And you see like some of the townspeople are kind of like getting sick. And what I like is that they only spend like 1 panel. I feel like EC, what they do well is that they tell the story very effectively. Like with the panels that they have, they say a lot with just a single panel. Sometimes they do get a little wordy, but it's worth it because the language in here I love the language that they use, right? It's very effective as well. So anyways, you got the butcher guy from the zoo, right? The guy that's selling him bad meat, and he goes to visit him at night, Mr. Grizzle or Zach, and he's there to tell him, hey, I got more of that bad meat for you to buy. But he wasn't there. His wife was there. And I guess he just assumed that his wife knew about it. So he just talked to his wife about it. He's like, yo, and he just told her, like, hey, he can go pick up another slop if he wants, right? And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? And he literally tells on her. He's like, the stale meat, the junk, the stuff he's selling to the, he's been selling as good stuff, So he literally tells him like the whole thing with the wife. Like the guy just straight up narcs him out. And then he's like, I got some horse meat as well. So this dude straight up narcs him. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of his downfall. And then we find out where Zach was, why he wasn't at home to see the horse meat guy. And that's because he was talking to the mafia dude, the fat guy with the cigar. And then she showed up and she is pissed, dude. She is angry, right? And then he's like, he's paying $6 now, right? He's paying $6 per pound back when he was getting only 69 cents. So he's making a lot of money now, but she is not impressed, right? She is not impressed. And she go ahead and tells him that what he's doing is wrong, and what he's doing is unethical, it's immoral, it's dangerous. And he's like, he kind of uses the age-old excuse, right? Well, everyone else is doing it. He's like, the gasoline guy is doing it. The tire guy's doing it. Why can't I do it, right? Everyone's doing it. So why can't he get a piece, right? Everyone's corrupted, so why not? And that's kind of like the seduction of the corruption, right? Because everyone else is doing it. You know what I mean? And it kind of just feels like, well, if everyone's in on it, nobody's going to tell. Nobody's going to rat or anything. But apparently his wife's not having it, right? And then this should have been his wake-up call, though. That should have been his wake-up call. When his wife told him, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this shit. This shit's immoral. That's when he should have stopped, right? But no, he got greedy, man. Like his greed would not stop. Like people were getting sick, but not that bad, And then we saw that continuum of compromises. He's just slipping deeper and deeper, right? And then he's like, I got a deal for you. This is the horse meat guy. I got some tainted meat, real bad. Yeah, no one will know it though. Got a process that covers it up. They won't find out till it's inside of them. Oof. And they're gonna feel pretty sad. And he's like, I need it bad. I got an order to fill. He's like, I'll take it. So then you got a lady, and he's just kind of happy as can be. Look at him. As he knows he's about to sell her some, some tainted meat, So then you got, they don't even show the people getting sick. They're just like, man, people are dying. People are just dying left and right? It just picks up real quick, you know what I mean? Yeah, people are dying left and right because, you're feeding them bad meat and stuff. So he's starting to get panicked. Zach is starting to get panicked. He sees the sheriff. He sees everybody's getting sick. The sheriff mentions people are dying. They're trying to find out what's going on. And that's when he starts to panic right here. He started to panic. He runs home. He tells his wife, I'm killing people. My meat is killing people. We need to get the hell out of here. And he's like, you did what? So she's pissed. And then she's like, where's Junior? And she's like, Junior is at the Horton's house and they bought some of that meat. Oh, and that's where you get the twist. Junior just walks in and he doesn't look too good. Look at him. He even's got like a little sheriff star on there. That's kind of sad, dude. And he topples over and dies. The wife, she is not happy at all. She is not happy at all. Sarah, that's her name. And yeah, man, she turns on him, pulls out the butcher knife. And this is the thing, right? Because this was like considered like the bad stuff back in the 50s. But you don't actually see the murder, right? You don't see the murder. This is implied. And I think that makes it a lot more powerful because I don't think we need to see it. Like, we know what's going to happen. And then it gives you, the confirmation of what did happen. So she opens up the shop the next day. She just kind of lost her mind. And then you kind of see his face in there at the bottom. You got a little foot over here. You got a hand. And then you got his glasses, maybe some intestines or some chorizo. I don't know. And then you just kind of see her eyes. I love this art too with the facial expressions, right? Because her eyes, she's got like the 1,000-yard stare. Like, she literally traumatized herself. She's gone, dude. Like, she belongs in an asylum from now on. So that's the end of the story, right? That's kind of like the moral of the story is, at what point is too much, right? And I think it kind of goes with that continuum of ethics. Like, at what point, I think different people would kind of have like, okay, is selling people good meat, but it's just the leftovers, whatever. But then you have the thing with the horse meat. Okay, so it's not cow meat, it's just horse meat or whatever. But he's just being dishonest all the way, and it just kind of goes deeper and deeper and deeper and worse and worse and worse. And I think the horror part of this, a lot of the horror aspects of these, isn't just like monsters or whatever. Most of the horror comes from the people themselves, the protagonists. It's coming for them. It's coming for them, but there's nothing that they can do to stop it. You know that their fate is going to be sealed as you see them doing these bad things. So it's kind of difficult to kind of feel bad for them at the end, and for these characters. And it's kind of weird because the characters themselves are the ones who turn into the monsters, and there's more than one victim, right? Because his wife was also, you could say that his wife was also a victim of his greed as well. His child was a victim. He lost everything, and for what? Just so he can get a few more bucks. I love this kind of storytelling. This is what was considered like the worst of the worst back in the 50s. People considered this or whatever, but I feel like people maybe kind of overreacted. I think it was kind of the shock. The shock on the covers were like, yeah, those are the beheading covers and stuff like that. I think that kind of like rubbed people the wrong way. But I don't think those people who were like actually burning books and whatever, except for maybe the kids who did read it. But I think a lot of people who kind of reacted, especially like the Christian people, back in those days, of the Catholics and whatever. I felt like a lot of, especially like the adults, didn't actually read the comics. They probably saw the cover. They probably opened up to a panel like this and they're like, oh man, this is horrible. You know what I mean? But there's not a whole lot of like vulgar language in here. There's actually no vulgar language in here at all. It's just an awesome kind of a suspense and horror, like what's coming to the person. But I think the great writing that happens here is that the author knows that what you're expecting. Like, I kind of thought that, when he first was talking about, like, he mentioned, as a nauseous cannibal remarked, on a particular hot day, taint the meat, it's the humanity, right? I thought this was going to go to the part where he was actually going to start serving people like human meat. You know what I mean? I thought that's where the story was gonna go, but then the author I felt like the author kind of knew that you knew that where this was headed, but then he kind of twisted it at the end. But it wasn't kind of a magnificent or shocking twist. I mean, it was shocking, but it wasn't like, you know what I mean? It was entertaining. And anyways, that's it for this issue, man. If you guys want me to do another issue, I think there's 3 stories in here or 4 stories. That second one, I don't like it. This one's funny. We might do this one next time. Cutting cards. So, yeah, man. You guys let me know what you guys think of these new type of videos. Hopefully, I can get a little bit more streamlined with them and stuff like that. Maybe get a little process going. All right, what's up, YouTube? I'm out here hanging out with the homegirl out here. So you guys take a good look at her. All right, so just a little bit of outro, just telling you guys about some future projects that I forgot to tell you guys. I know some of the stuff that I was looking through, like while I was editing and stuff, I noticed that a lot of the stuff wasn't like in frame. So next time I'll try to get everything on frame. Also, I was working on a Joker video, a really interesting Joker video, but once I shot it, didn't really like the way it came out, so I'll probably be reshooting that as well. So coming up next week is going to be Poison Ivy 2. That's going to be released. So you guys come back next week. I know some of you guys have been really enjoying my Poison Ivy stuff. So that's going to be next week. Hopefully I can get it out by Wednesday. Do the review on issue number 2. And then the week after that, I'm going to be doing the one for the previews for number 3. All right. And these covers getting awesome. So you guys be on the lookout for that. And I'll see you guys next time. All right. Thank you guys for rocking with me. All right. Peace.